Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sarah from Japan. Welcome back to another biblical read-along. Today we're going to be looking at Ezekiel 41, Ezekiel chapter 41, and that continues on from 40, talking about the rebuilding of the temple, okay? And so they're also, in chapter 41, you're going to hear about what the man tells Ezekiel. And the man, as mentioned in starting chapter 40, verse 3, is Jesus Christ, okay? Before he's, they don't know who he is yet. He isn't revealed as Jesus Christ, until the New Testament. But all throughout the Old Testament, he visits, you can see him visiting different people, and they just don't know who he is yet. Okay, so reading on then, okay, let's look at this. Chapter 41, verse 1, afterwards he brought me to the temple and measured the post, 6 cubits broad on one side and 6 cubits broad on the other side, which was the breadth of the tabernacle. Okay. And the breadth of the door was 10 cubits, and the sides of the doors were 5 cubits on one side and 5 cubits on the other side. And he measured the length thereof, 40 cubits, and breadth 20 cubits. Then went he inward and measured the post of the floor. So he being the man, again, okay, this is the man that they were talking about. Oh, what's this? Sorry, my papers are messed up here. All right, so then he went inward and measured the post of the floor, 2 cubits in the door, 6 cubits, and the breadth of the door 7 cubits. So he measured the length thereof, 20 cubits, and the breadth 20 cubits, before the temple. And he said unto me, he being the man, okay, said unto me, this is the most holy place. So he's showing Ezekiel the most holy place, the tabernacle, where the tabernacle is, okay? After he measured the wall of the house, 6 cubits in the breadth of every side chamber, 4 cubits round about the house on every side. And the side chambers were 3, one over another, and 30 in order. And they entered into the wall, which was of the house for the side chamber round about, that they might have hold, but they had not hold in the wall of the house. Okay, so did you get that? That they might have hold on, and the side chambers were 3. There's 3 side chambers, one over another, and 30 in order. And they entered into the wall, which was the house for the side chambers round about, that they might have hold, but they had not hold in the wall of the house. Okay, and there was an enlarging and a winding about still upwards to the side chambers, for the winding about of the house went still upward round about the house. Therefore the breadth of the house was still upward. Okay, so pretty high ceiling then. And so increased from the lowest chamber to the highest by the midst. I saw also the height of the house round about, and the foundations of the side chambers were a full reed of 6 great cubits, so it's fairly large. The thickness of the wall, which was for the side chamber without, was 5 cubits, and that which was left was the place of the side chambers that were within. And between the chambers was the wideness of 20 cubits, round about the house on every side. Okay, and the doors of the side chambers were towards the place that was left, one door towards the north and another door towards the south. And the breadth of the place was that was left was 5 cubits round about. Now the building that was before the separate place at the end, towards the west, was 70 cubits broad, and the wall of the building was 5 cubits thick round about, and the length thereof 90 cubits. So he measured the house 100 cubits long, in the separate place, and the building with the walls thereof 100 cubits long. Also the breadth of the face of the house, and the separate place towards the east, and 100 cubits. And he measured the length of the cubits of the building over against the separate place which was behind it, and the galleries thereof on the one side and on the other side 100 cubits, with the inner temple and the porches of the court. The doorposts and the narrow windows and the galleries round about on their 3 stories over against the door, sealed. It's not sealed as in C-E-A-L, but it's sealed. I might want to look up that word. Sealed is C-I-E-L-E-D. Okay, with wood round about, and from the ground up to the windows, and the windows were covered, to that above the door, even unto the inner house and without, and by all the wall round about within and without by measure. And it was made with cherubims and palm trees, so that a palm tree was between a cherub and a cherub, And every cherub had 2 faces. So every cherub has 2 faces. So they're different from the cherubs that were introduced in the beginning of the book of Ezekiel, I believe in chapter 2, where they had 4 faces. So that the face of a man was towards the palm tree on one side, and the face of a young lion towards the palm tree on the other side. It was made through all the house round about. From the ground unto above the door were cherubims and palm trees made, and on the wall of the temple. You see, in heaven too, there's different types of like angels. They don't always look the same. The cherubims, they don't look the same. So you got the different creatures up there. The 4 creatures that are mentioned in Ezekiel are also, I think they're the same creatures that are mentioned in Revelations. Okay, so, and they have the 4 faces, and then you got the 2-faced cherubims, okay? All right. And so that the face of the man was towards the palm tree on one side, this is verse 20, and the face of a young lion towards the palm tree on the other side. It was made through all the house round about. I'm going to go back through here. Okay. From the ground unto above, the door were cherubims and palm trees made, and on the wall of the temple. The posts of the temple were squared, and the face of the sanctuary, the appearance of the one as the appearance of the other. So they looked alike. They were the same, identical. The altar of wood was 3 cubits high, and the length thereof 2 cubits, and the corners thereof, and the length thereof, and the walls thereof were of wood. He said unto me, This is the table that is before the Lord. And the temple and the sanctuary had 2 doors, and the doors had 2 leaves apiece, 2 turning leaves, 2 leaves for the one door, and 2 leaves for the other door. And there were made on them, on the doors of the temple, cherubims and palm trees. So again, I mean, he's been talking about palm trees up until like the last chapter was like a palm tree here, palm tree there. Now they're talking about cherubims and palm trees, and they're talking about the inner parts of the temple, I believe. Like as were made upon the walls, and there were thick planks upon the face of the porch without, and there were narrow windows and palm trees on the one side and the other side, and on the sides of the porch and upon the side chambers of the house, and thick planks. Okay, so I'm going to move on to chapter 42 then. Okay, real quick. Alright, so Ezekiel 42. Alright, now we're going into the utter court. Okay, so I'm going to look at the utter court here, just a Strong's concordance here, because I just want to be sure that I understand what an utter court is. So, just checking real quick, because this, this is just catching. I've read this a lot of times, but, sometimes you get something that catches your eye for the first time. And so I just want to clarify what an utter court is. Okay, it's not outer court, it's utter, as in U-T-T-E-R. So, one moment while I get all my Strong's Concordance. I have 2 Strong Concordances now, actually 3. One on this small one that I got through Kindle, and then one on my laptop, and then one on the, another one in here that's a different type of Strong's Concordance. The one I have on the laptop, unfortunately, I bought it because the one I had on here was tiny. But unfortunately, it's not English into Greek and Hebrew. It's it's Hebrew into English, and so if you don't know the Hebrew word for it, it's kind of hard to look it up unless you know the number. Okay, now where is it? I know my Strong Concordance is in here somewhere. Oh, bingo! So I have my other one here, and I'm going to just go through. For me, biblical books, I have to be careful, like my Bibles and stuff. I have to hide everything because in my house that's all contraband. So I put a lot of my stuff in my electronic library. So I'm on Ezekiel 42 here, and we are looking at the utter courts. Okay, which is thing, okay. Oh, the utter court means the inner court. So, let me rephrase that then. So then he brought, this is verse 1, then he brought me forth into the inner court. Oh no, utter court. Utter court, what's that? Oh, outer, it does mean outer, sorry. I was reading verse 3. Okay, then he brought me forth into the outer court. Okay, and it's spelled utter here. The wall towards the north. He brought me into the chamber that was over against the separate place, and which was before the building towards the north, before the length of 100 cubits. Okay, was the breadth of 50 cubits, over against the 20 cubits which were for the inner court, and over against the pavement which was for the outer court was gallery against gallery in 3 stories. And before the chambers was a walk to 10 cubits breadth inward, and a way of 1 cubit, and their doors towards the north. Now the upper chambers were shorter, for the galleries were higher than these, than the lower and the middlemost part of the building. For they were in 3 stories, but had not pillars as the pillars of the courts. Therefore the building was straitened more than the lowest and the middlemost from the ground. And the wall that was without over against the chambers towards the outer court, or the outer court, on the forepart of the chambers, the length thereof was 50 cubits. For the length of the chambers was there in the outer courts was 50 cubits, and lo, before the temple were 100 cubits. And from under these chambers was the entry on the east side, as one goes into them from the other court, or the outer court, actually. Okay, so, all right. Verse 10, the chambers were in the thickness of the wall of the court towards the east, over against the separate place, and over against the building. And the way before them was like the appearance of the chambers which were towards the north, as long as they, and as broad as they, and all their goings up were both according to their fashions and according to their doors. So the functions are different here. And according to the doors of the chambers that were towards the south was a door in the head of the way. There was a door in the head of the way. Interesting how he words that. Even the way directly before the wall towards the east, as one enters into them. And he said unto me, the man again, okay, the man with the flax and the reed, okay, the north chambers and the south chambers, which are before the separate place, they be holy chambers. They be holy chambers, okay, where the priests that approach unto the Lord shall eat the most holy things. So the priests are eating the holy things here. There shall they lay the most holy things, and the meat offering, and the sin offering, and the trespass offering. So again, we have the 3, the burnt offering, which is the meat offering, the sin offering, and the trespass offering. So that's 3. For the place is holy. When the priests enter therein, then shall they not go out of the holy place into the outer court. So they're not allowed to go from the holy, most holy place into the outer court. But there they shall lay their garments wherein they minister, for they are holy, and shall put on other garments, and shall approach to those things which are for the people. Now, I believe it was in Leviticus, I was reading about this, the tabernacle that they had out in the wilderness that they had made. It was a simple tent, and it was divided, and I believe they had to wear certain types of garments because they couldn't even so much as sweat in them, so they had special types of garments that kept them from sweating. Okay, a special type of linen. So, and also too, if you read that, it's interesting. I believe it's in that. It's either Leviticus or Deuteronomy. I forget. But the priests, when they went in to that area, they had a rope tied around their waist. Okay, and they went into the sanctuary, and there would be people holding onto the rope, and if they, they had bells on their robes, and if they fell over, then the other people on the outside would pull the dead priest out. Okay, so that's how serious they took this place. All right, so verse 14, when the priests enter therein, then shall they not go out of the holy place into the outer court, but there they shall lay their garments. I just read that. Okay, wherein they minister, for they are holy, and they shall put on the other garments, and shall approach to those things which are for the people. So they have to wear different garments for that. Now when he had made an end of measuring the inner house, he brought me forth towards the gate, whose prospect is towards the east, and measured it round about. He measured the east side with a measuring reed, 500 reeds, and with the measuring reed round about. He measured the south side, 500 reeds, with the measuring reed. He turned about to the west side, and measured 500 reeds with the measuring reed. He measured it by the 4 sides, and it had a wall round about, 500 reeds long, and 500 broad, to make a separation between the sanctuary and the profane place. So the sanctuary and the profane place. So let's look at what the profane place is. It's verse 20. What does the Strong say? So he measured it about the 4 sides, and had a wall round about 500 reeds long, and reeds is in italics, okay, and 500 broad, to make the sanctuary and the profane place. So, I missed it. Oh. So you have to read more about what the profane place is. So let me see if I can get an explanation on that. The profane place. Sometimes you can get something. I recommend that you do your own research, though. Okay. What is it? I had a guide in here somewhere. 42, verse 20. Okay, so search. I believe I had that in my thing in there. Doesn't really give much insight into what the profane place was. So maybe that's where they pour out the refuse or the parts that are unacceptable of the offerings, maybe. So, but I would look into that. Anyway, so now I'm going to end it here, and I'll come back later. So this is more of the description of the inner parts of the temple and the outer chambers, and the difference between the holy place and the temple and the outer chambers, and how, you know, they're set apart, and how the priests are to dress differently. Okay, so I will come back later and continue on with chapter 43. Okay, I bless you all in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. I love you all. I'm out. Bye.